Hey guys, this is Jim with Engineer Your Supply Chain. Today, I just want to take some time out to go over really the three key phases in a successful project. Many people think that being successful in a project and a project manager is really simply about holding meetings and telling others what to do. But I can tell you from, 20 some years doing project management, engineering, supply chain design, and running some really complicated supply chain projects that it's so much more than that. There's some that are really good at it and some that really could use a lot more work into how they do their project management and their supply chain project management, right? I've been able to really break it down into three phases. And you really must understand these phases to really be successful at project execution. And these are projects for launching your new product, reshoring your supply base, or just doing any basic project that you need to get done to meet your KPI for the year. So anyway, really, I've broken it down into three phases. I kind of look at it like running a race. You don't just start going. You don't just start executing. You don't just start sprinting. What you do is you need to get warmed up first. You need to get up to speed, and then you need to hit the finish line with the maximum amount of speed. But also, you need to be able to have your form right and have everything done so that when you run past the finish line, you don't just stop and pull a muscle and then you're out for a while, right? So anyway, that's kind of a convoluted way of thinking about projects. So, but thinking about it that way, that's really what I've broken them down into. As I point out in my webpage at jimmoran.net, we break them down into the starting line, the streamline, and the finish line. Those are the three phases: starting line, streamline, finish line. Okay. I'll get into what each of those ones means in 1 minute. Just for now, I want you to think about right now of your main project. How do you know if it's going to be successful? Well, I can help you with that. I have created a project barometer. It kind of shows you enter your input, and in 5 minutes, is your project going to be successful? It helps you do a little bit more thinking into your project, helps you understand where you're at with your project. And really, it outputs your likelihood of success for your project. So look for the project success barometer in the show notes. Okay. You can pause this, go do it now. Again, it takes 2 to 5 minutes to go do that. Okay. And then come back here and we're going to jump right into what I mean by the streamline phase of your project. It's probably the most important one. Let's jump into the starting line. I said streamline earlier. That's important, but really the starting line is really what's most critical to your project success. Right. So think of the starting line as getting ready to run, right? Getting to the starting line. So, this is gathering data, agreeing on a statement of work, understanding and knowing where the finish line is, developing a plan for execution. What's your race strategy here? And really just creating the baselines for a successful project, right? How do you know you're going to be successful? How do you know when you're falling behind? What are the potential hazards? So think of a runner before a race, a sprinter before a race, right? They're talking to themselves. They're kind of game planning what they need to do. They're warming themselves up. They're getting their starting block set. They're measuring it out. All these things is preparation so that they can run at their finish line the most efficiently and effective way possible, right? So if you don't do this for your project and you just kind of start racing towards the perceived finish line, you'll take longer, you'll spend more money, and you won't be as successful as you need to be, right? And in this climate, first to market is critical. Okay, so you can't afford any kind of mistakes or hiccups. You can't afford a moving finish line, okay? Or you have to be able to understand when the finish line is moving, or else you're just constantly running and running and running and never getting there, okay? So that's what I mean by the starting line part of the starting line, streamline, finish line phases of a project. Okay, the second phase is the streamline phase. This is the one that probably takes the longest, right? It's probably about 80% of the activity and 80% of the timeline for your project. Um, it's pretty much the efficient execution of the project. So you're all warmed up, the gun's gone off, and you're sprinting. So this helps you get up to speed and to travel with maximum efficiency. So with a properly set up structure, I've reduced meeting times from 30 minutes to 5 minutes. I think my record's 2.5 minutes. So how do we do this? Focus tasks, um, assign tasks to specific people who can get it done, and make sure it's time dependent. Give them a time that they have buy-in on, and how long they think it'll take to get it done, and what to do if they happen to be falling behind. Right? Make sure they're engaged and get their buy-in, and of course, be sure to listen to their input for any kind of roadblocks. And speaking of that, keep an eye out for roadblocks and make sure you address and escalate those quickly. Right? Keep a track in a risk register with mitigation plans. So and of course, report back to the team. Keep track of meeting notes. Share those meeting notes. Send out an action item list after each call, just so people know what's going on. Right. So again, I've had a call last effective team calls last only 5 minutes because we were so well set up with how we collaborate and how we track tasks that we're not in the calls just asking, hey, Joe, how did you do on this? Hey, Samantha, what's this? And then taking those notes, right? No, we have an effective way using like Microsoft Teams or Trello or something like that where they can update in real time on their own time zone, in between when they have time set aside in between doing the real job, their everyday job, I should say, what they're hired for, and working on this project kind of thing. So anyway, there's a real way to get this done. So the people like going to the meetings, and no one's ever complained about ending a meeting early, right? Again, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. No one's ever complained when I said after 5 minutes, guys, I think we got it all. We all know what we're going to do next. Okay, well, I'll see you later, right? So it can be done, and really smart project managers know how to get the engagement and how to share the ideas and share the tasks in an effective way. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the finish line. Okay, so the third part of our project success framework is the finish line, right? So win the race, right? Which could mean getting to the market, before your competitors. It could mean bringing on that new vendor quickly so that you can capture the savings early. Whatever it is, this is not just getting across the finish line, but it's about approaching the finish line and then decelerating afterwards. So what I mean is, think of the race again, and as you approach the finish line, you're really working at maximum speed, and your goal is to really just tuck in and get across there before your competitors, right? So how this usually looks in a project, if you're producing products, a product launch, it could be quality checks, could be PPAPs, customer approvals, work instructions, process documentation. All these things are done and signed off, right? You've already planned for them back in the starting line phase, and you've been kind of working towards them during the execution, but now you're really just kind of crossing the T's and dotting the I's, right? You're doing a trial run. That's part of the finish line. So with those, when those are successful, then you cross the finish line, right? You start your production. You begin using a new strategy. You submit the first production PO to a supplier. Whatever you defined as your finish line early in the project, at the start of the project, right? That's why we kind of define it at the starting line so that we know when we're done and when we've crossed that finish line. But, well, actually, we're not done yet, right? Because as you cross the finish line at a full sprint, you start to decelerate, right? So you want to make sure you set yourself up for success after the sprint, okay? After you cross the project finish line. So you look back at what went right, take a look at and evaluate what went wrong. What can we improve? Is there an aspect of this product that we can improve, or the production of this product? How can we improve it to make it a little bit more efficient, take some cost out, whatever. And then you look at, what's next. What's the next race we have to run in order to, keep being successful, in order to meet our KPI, in order to keep our customers happy. And it's up to the project manager really to just kind of report on these findings, store the documents, share the learnings, and get ready for the next race. Okay. So, with your project that you have going on now, again, if you really want to know where you're at with it, if you really want to know if it's going to be successful or not, just take that project success barometer. There's a link here in the show notes. And you can also just reach out to me for a free strategy call. We'll take a look at it. I'll kind of ask you some questions. We'll dive into your project and, help you get to the finish line. Okay. So thanks for listening to me. And again, feel free to reach out and take a look at the notes for what you might need. All right. Until next time, guys. Ciao.